This video is for anybody who's just starting out in the super yacht industry, has been applying for loads of jobs, doesn't seem to be getting anywhere. Maybe you've managed to pick up a couple of days day work, but you're not getting any responses from your CV. You're not hearing back from anybody and wondering what on earth's going on. If that's you, listen on, because maybe this could help you. Now, I'm not saying that I'm an expert in CV writing. I'm not, but I'm going to give you mine and my son's recent experience of CVs and what we learned from that experience. Okay, so a little bit about me. I've been 10 years working in the super yacht industry. I've got a husband who works on a 57-metre super yacht, and I've got a 19-year-old son who's a greenie this year, who's working on a 65-metre sailing yacht. So if you're like me and a good mum, you help your son type his CV up because he's never done that before, and you go online and look at all the different formats of CV, and you see some really, really cool looking formats and see modern looking CVs that look really cool. And I'm going to enter, I'm going to post a picture alongside this so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, this is what I call a modern style CV. It looks really cool. It's got colour on it. There's loads of columns and it looks pretty funky. Like many of you, I, with my son, completed his CV and thought, wow, that looks amazing, fantastic. And he was sending it out for a short while, not really getting anywhere with it. And I don't know what I'd seen, whether I'd seen something on YouTube or on social media or something about CVs. But I just got this inkling that I'd done the wrong type of CV. So luckily, I've got a friend who runs her own recruitment agency. She used to be a chief stew and now has her own recruitment agency. And I've also got a very good friend who works for a very large training and recruitment agency here in the south of France. So I messaged both of them and said, hey, just checking what style CV works best for, especially for greenies, because I've done this format and I sent them a copy. And is this the right format? Because this is what everybody seems to be using. And imagine my surprise when they came back to me and said, no, this is not the right format. I was like, what the hell? So I said, well, what is the right format for, especially for greenies? I'd read about the ATS, which is applicant tracking system, which is what a lot of agencies use now, where they scan CVs, because literally they get hundreds and hundreds of CVs. They scan CVs and it picks up keywords. So I'd seen the video about this ATS system, so I'd asked the question, which format is best for this ATS system? Is there a better format? They both said the classic version, or classic, what I call a classic skill version, and the version that I've been using my entire life, that this is the best CV format for the super yacht industry. Like I said, I'm not holding myself up as being an expert writing CVs. So as a result of this information, I then went back, spoke to my son, and we decided to change the format to the classic format, which was an absolute pain in the arse, let's be honest, because you've got to go back and reformat everything. But we reformatted his CV to what I call the classic skills format. And no kidding you, he's greenie. He was 18 years old. He, within about a month, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, probably not even that, of us using this new format, he not only got a job, he got his most perfect job as a second engineer on a 65-metre super yacht, sailing yacht. Now, maybe that's coincidental, but some of you might say, oh yeah, but who did he know? Did he get the job because it was a friend of a friend? No, he got the job the same way all of you are looking to get your job. He got on all the Facebook groups, and as soon as he saw a job being advertised, he sent his CV off. And we didn't know anyone to do with this recruitment, anyone to do with the boat. In fact, the boat is based in a completely different country. So we knew absolutely nothing. So he didn't get it through that. He got it solely based on merit and on his CV. So that's why I feel really quite strongly about this, because it really pissed me off. And what pissed me off was there's so much wrong information out there, and there's people that are doing CVs, but doing them in this modern style. And I don't necessarily think that this modern style CV is doing you any favors. So if you've been applying for a job and not getting absolutely anywhere, my suggestion is just try reformatting another version of it in the classic form, the classic skills form, which is what I'm going to go through with you today, and just see, try sending it out and just see whether you get better feedback from that form or that style CV than what you're currently getting on your modern style CV. And I'm going to show you and talk through both types of CVs. As I said, I'm not saying I'm an expert, not in the least. I went to the experts and asked them, and this is what they told me. So this is what I'm going to pass on to you, because you might not know people who were in recruitment or got their own recruitment agency. I was just fortunate enough to do that. I did. And so I think it's really important to share the information and share the knowledge. And it's really funny because on it was either Facebook or LinkedIn the other day, I saw somebody advertising their CV services, and they'd done the modern format. And I messaged in their post and said, doesn't this, this format I've been told isn't good for ATS? Are you offering crew to the other alternative options of a CV style? And do you realize that ATS recruiters are saying that this modern style isn't conducive to the ATS system? And they actually sent back a really good message saying that they taken note of what I said, and we're now we're changing or creating another option where people could actually request this, what I call a classic skill style CV, and that's what I'm going to go through with you today. Okay, so this is what I call a modern CV. This is the basic version. I just took it off the internet, and as you can see, generally it has a column along the left hand side which is coloured and has some just quick basic information, and then on the other side will be your work experience, etc. So this is what I call a modern style CV, and this is the version that most people are using, and that the recruiters that I talked about told me that this is the one not to use. Okay, now this is what I call a classic CV or a classic skills based CV, and I'm going to go through it, but in particular for the super yacht industry. So at the very top, I would put a photograph on either the top left or the top right hand corner. In the middle, put CV or resume, put your location, your nationality, visa, other information like non-smoker, no tattoos. And then the left hand side, create a box, put your name, make it in bigger font than everything else. Put the title of the job you're looking for, like deckhand or second engineer, deck engineer. Then put your contact mobile number and your email address in a box, so it's really clear they can see your contact information. Then immediately underneath you can see there is a summary. I personally prefer to put their professional profile, and then I put a paragraph about myself, or in the case of my son, he put a paragraph about himself and about his motivations, what he's been doing, that sort of thing. Then underneath that is experience. Again, the title, we change that to maritime work experience. So if you do have some work experience in the maritime industry, this is what you put there, day work, etc. And then logically do the most recent first, and then work your way backwards and put the name of the company, the months or that you worked there, or the month that you worked there. You don't need to put individual days. And then the type of work, whether it was a day, work placement, whether it was day work, whether it was a temp work, that sort of thing. And then again, a paragraph underneath saying roughly what you did during that time. All right, that's it. And then list each one. Now, if you don't have maritime experience, you're going to put work experience, and you're going to list work experience, in particular work experience that is relevant to the job that you've applied for. So for example, if you're applying for a stew job and you've done waitressing or bar work or worked in hospitality in a hotel and stuff, that's where you're going to put your skills. Likewise, if you're a guy, you've worked as a carpenter, or you've worked, I don't know, painting or decorating or doing garden, it's skills. So you're going to look at what skills are transferable with your current experience that you can apply within the industry. Now, where some greenies have got a problem, they've got no experience whatsoever, no work experience, and you're going to really struggle. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know that if you've got absolutely no experience of doing anything whatsoever, I don't know if the super yacht industry is for you right at this moment. I would really suggest that you go home or you stay where you are and get some experience, because the industry is brutal. It's exceedingly hard. Forget about below decks. If you see my other videos, you'll see just about every single professional that I asked for their top 3 tips. Most of them came back and said, tell them to forget about below decks. It is not below decks. You do realise that there's a second crew on below decks that does all the real work, and then the other crew do the filming. Yeah, it's not real. This industry is brutal. If you are not self-sufficient, if you have not got any experience, go and get some, because that's what's holding you back. So it's not a popular opinion, but you know, I don't think the industry is a good fit for you if you've got absolutely no experience and literally you're straight out of school. Although my son was 18, he'd just done 2 years of a maritime engineering baccalaureate in France. So he just spent 2 years doing marine engineering, and he'd also done work placements for, I think, maximum 4 weeks or to 6 weeks, working at various agencies on a super yacht. He did some work experience at a marine engineering company. So he had quite a lot of work experience that he could put into that work experience there. So although he was 18, he had a lot of experience. Plus he also got day work, which he also was able to put down there. So then the next section is your, I think, one of the most important sections, and it's called the skills summary. Okay, in the skills summary, just do a title of key skills, and then just list them, bullet points, everything that is relevant skills, either that you've got from maritime work experience or from alternative transferable skill experience. Put those in there, okay? And really that should be one of your biggest paragraphs. Then the next section is education, and then I would just do your senior education. I won't go back to, you know, some people put primary school, junior school and stuff. You don't need to do that. Just put your senior and anything onwards if you've got a degree or anything like that. Then underneath education will be your certifications, and it's a very particular format you need to list. Obviously start with your STCW and put the date that it's valid from and the date that it expires, and then put your other ones. So if you've got an AEC 1, that's your engineering courses, or your AEC 2, you've got a powerboat license, personal watercraft license. Again, you need to put when you got those certifications. Underneath that is hobbies and motivation, and that is just literally a 2 or 3 line sentence, a paragraph about yourself, just to give an inkling about who you are as a person, whether you're into sports, whether you're from a yachting family, whether you're from a sailing family and you've done lots of sailing, that sort of thing. Again, controversial. I don't list all my references on my CV, on a resume. It's not necessary. You can put at the very bottom references upon application if you want, but I don't even need to do that. And you also notice I don't put the age, your age. You've got to be 18 to get a job on a super yacht because of legal reasons and insurance. So it goes without saying you should be 18 when you're applying for a job, but you don't need to list your marital status, whether you've got children, what your age is, that sort of thing. And then the final thing at the very, very bottom is I usually put the date that this was created, for example, August 2026, but in very, very small text. And that is it. Nice and simple. So you're keeping it really easy. It's very plain format, but it's very easy for an ATS system to scan. And those keywords, now remember, when you're doing a job applying for a job, they're going to give you a list of what their requirements are, okay, what the key skills and things that they require, job description or person specification, okay. Most of the words that they use in that advert you should have in your CV, because that's what the ATS is going to be looking for, okay. And then when you send your CV off to them and you write your cover letter or your cover email, again you must repeat those keywords. Don't just send them your CV with nothing else, or just say, hi, please find attached my CV, I'd like to apply for such and such job, and that's it. No, that is an absolute wasted opportunity. You must use that email to reinforce your key skills that match the skills that they've requested in the advert, because that's what's going to get you noticed, okay. So you've got to tie in your CV and your cover email. You've got to tie those two things in to the job description that they've posted, and as many of those keywords you need to have repeated in your CV and also in your cover letter. And that's what's going to get them interested, because all they're interested in is those keywords. Have you met what they've asked for? Okay, so there you go, Greenies. Those are my tips for a classic style CV. Don't forget to subscribe, share and like. We've got absolutely tons and tons of videos coming up in September when I actually fully launch this channel. Currently on holiday for the last month, but because of all the posts I'm seeing regarding Greenies struggling, I really felt compelled to try and do my little bit to help you secure your first role in this incredible industry. And it really is an amazing industry. And also don't forget to check out all the other videos and all the other tips that I've got from industry professionals that they gave me to share with you to help you on your journey into the super yacht industry. Speak to you in September. Bye.